So one of the key things I find in doing my custom van build were the measurements of all the different features of the cabinets and the bed and the garage and the bike drawer and so on. And so for today's video, I thought I would share some of the key measurements in my build. And so two of the first key things were the floor and the framing in the walls. And so I used the floor mat that came with the van as a template to cut out the floor, as well as the lower portion of the load protection package for the wall segments of my bed frame. So let's go check that out. And so for the floor, I used the flooring that came with a van to create a template to cut around the wheel wells and the side door and so on. And so for the lower portions of the garage here, I used the lower section of the load protection package that I bought at significant expenses, like $700. But all in all, the efficiencies that it created to be able to do this, use them as templates to cut out the walls and the floor was a great efficiency of labor. And so some of the other key components were the bike drawer. And so let me pull that out. So here's the bike drawer, and let's just measure a few of these key parts. So the drawer is 21 inches wide, and it's 61¼ inches long. And maybe the key part is, you see I've got my dropper posts down, but the handlebars are actually higher than the dropper posts. So the other key measurement is the height between the floor, the height that it has to clear. And so I measure this to this part from the bottom of the floor to this at 35½ inches. And so keep in mind, I have two medium-sized bikes. If you have a large or an extra large, you might want to add a little bit, or at least measure to the top of your handlebars. Again, you can see that I've got the fork anchors here to secure it. And like I say, my key measurement is to the height of the handlebars. And then the other key measurement is, you can see that I've aligned my two bikes a little bit. The smaller bike is in the front, and so it's the depth of the drawer is according to the front of the handlebars of the shorter bike and the rear of the wheel of the longer bike. This one is my bike, and it's a downhill oriented bike, so it's a little longer than the all mountain bike. The other thing is to clear the handlebar here against the wall of the rear door enclosure. So you can see here that with the drawer halfway in, it's just barely clearing this. So again, if you mount this bike here, it has to clear that, and so you have to figure out the your respective measurement there. The other thing is, I actually have the drawer extended beyond the frame of the floor to the back of this. So the bike drawer is extended by 6 3/8 inches, and the door still closes to clear that, as you can see when it's closed like that. So it's tight, but I've utilized this extra space right in here. Extending this drawer was a key thing, because the length of the bike is what dictates the length of the garage, or in fact the width of the bed as we lie across it. So let's measure that depth. So the length of the bike drawer to the end of the wall of the bed is 60½ inches to the end of the flooring right here. And that extra 6 inches allowed me to actually move the end of the garage wall this way by that approximately 6 inches, which was crucial in terms of maximizing the amount of lobby space inside the van. So, and again, to be clear, clearing the handlebars is the key measurement to how high the support member for the bed has to be. And everything else falls into place. The equipment drawer and the water tank and the laundry drawer, all of those kind of fit in as they need to, but the key factor is where this drawer has to go and then where this wall has to be in order to clear all the other things. You can see the other consideration is the pedal on the side of this bike becomes something it has to clear. So this wall has to go to accommodate this pedal. And so this half wall to support the bed, in my case, is exactly 32 inches from the sidewall under the bed to this half wall in order to clear the handlebar of the front bike and the pedal of the rightmost bike. And that's why, in order to orient the two bikes, that you really want to trial and error on the platform even before you build the drawer to minimize the footprint of this drawer, because the more and more that you move this wall out here to accommodate an inefficient installation, the more you cannibalize unnecessarily everything else that ensues. And on this side you can see that I have this unused space beside the bikes on the left, and so I've just simply framed this in so that I can store things. And in this case I have a tent and a tarp over a picnic table and 2 picnic chairs and storage for my toolbox and some tools and so on here. So I've been able to take advantage of this space over here by putting a wall in. And so the height of the bed is, to the top of the bed, is 37.5 inches. The full width of the bed, I've got these side inserts that are each about 2.5 inches. And so the full width of the bed is exactly 71 inches, inclusive of these 2 inserts. So if they're 2.5 each side, that's 5 inches. So it would only be 66 inches if I didn't put those inserts in. So that's a key thing. So now the cabinetry. The countertop is 56 3/8, but the end of the cabinet is 55 1/8. And so the countertop is 19.5, and the cabinets are 19 inches deep. And from floor to the top of the cabinets is 31 inches. As I mentioned in a separate video, if I was to do this again, I would add an extra inch to the vent at the bottom of the fridge. What I find is it's probably a little small to properly circulate the back of the fridge. So the cabinet, instead of being 31 inches, I would actually make it 32 inches to accommodate the venting of the fridge. There are a few other critical measurements for the cabinets. And so one of the things I found was I wanted to custom build this lower drawer for my stacking pots. I have 2 pots and a small frying pan inside there. So the pots themselves are 9 inches wide. But I made the drawer 10 inches to accommodate a little bit of wiggle room. My first version of that, I built the drawer bank without realizing that it needed to be at least the 9 inches wide. So I had to redo this whole bank in order to customize to fit these pots. And you see the propane cylinder, the teapot, and the stacking pots all fit in there very nicely. And then the other key thing was my Thetford porta potty. Custom built the drawers here on a high capacity slide. And so the inside of this cabinet is 18.5 inches. The 18.5 inches perfectly fits the porta potty. And then the cabinet for the fridge, obviously you need to custom build it for whatever fridge you choose. But for my fridge, the cabinet is, the inside dimensions of the cabinet are 20 inches exactly. The other key measurement was the knee room when the driver's seat is swiveled in the backward configuration as you see here. And so for me, there's ample knee room. And so from the countertop to the end of this panel here, I have it at 11 inches. And so when I'm sitting in the driver's seat, swiveled backwards, you can see that I have a fair amount of knee room here in front of the portable table I have. And so just to show you how simple and easy the portable table is deployed, let me show you how this works. You just pop it right out. Pop that in. And then you can see that I'm ready to have a beer. And to put it away, it folds up similarly very easy. And so you can see that I have it attached to the wall here, snug up against the countertop, but with bungees holding it up. So it's real simple to pull it out and put it back in place. The sink cabinet is also 31 inches high. It is 17 inches deep, and it is 31 1/4 inches long. But I think in hindsight, I should have made this longer. My concern was that I wanted a sufficient opening in the side doors to freely come and go, especially if I ended up hauling something big like my bikes to put inside here temporarily. What I find is there's more than ample room to get in and out. I would like to have a slightly longer sink cabinet so that I could actually put a drawer in right here, which I neglected to do. And so in which case I'd have to move my water pump over a little bit. So I would probably add another 5 or 6 inches to the length of this cabinet. And so my upper cabinets at the front are 12 1/2 inches high and 10 inches deep. And they don't quite line up on this side with the countertop, but they do line up on this side because of the bed and so on. So they're all in line. So the width of the upper cabinets is 53 1/2 inches. Again, you could probably extend it to be in line with the lower cabinet to probably 56 or 57 inches. But as you can see, that I put the hook in here, and I put my coat and my hat and a number of other things here, my towel to let it temporarily dry off, on these hooks here. And so I wanted a little bit of wiggle room in here. So that works fine. The other key measurement was the height of the upper cabinets above the lower cabinets, above the countertop. And so you can see this is 20 inches 7/8, almost 21 inches. And what I discovered initially, I had a deeper, lower upper cabinet that I realized that when I was bending over to cut things and cook and so on, I was likely to knock my head, my forehead, against this because it was too far out, or maybe too low. So depending on how big you are, I think the ergonomics is that you want to have this cabinet oriented shallower and maybe deeper, but you got to figure out what, if you were to tilt over and work over top of a cutting board or something like that on this side, that you don't want to be banging your head all the time. As well as in my case that I have this drop down Murphy type camping stove that I deploy right here. And the other thing is to vent that so it doesn't vent up against the cabinet, but it vents into open air. So I've recessed these far enough for those two reasons, so that it vents the stove as well as the, clears my head if I'm leaning over. And so there's this one last cabinet here that I use as sort of my toiletries, that I have a his and her compartment for my shaving kit and soap and things like that. And it's virtually as wide as this panel is here. And again, it's 12 inches wide at the front, 15 1/2 inches high, and at the bottom, 7 inches deep. And again, the idea is to clear leaning over. We often cut on this surface here in the kitchen on the sink side, and we cut over here. So that would be the other thing about the extending the length here, not just to build this drawer here, would be to create a bigger cutting surface, because this is usually where we cut most of our stuff, because we're cooking on this surface, but we're cutting on this. And to move the sink over by 6 inches might virtually double the size of this area here. The width of this cutting surface is a foot, 12.5 inches. And so if we added 6 inches to that, we would have more than ample area to put our cutting boards and in fact put our dirty dishes before we clean them and so on. I guess the other key measurement here is the floor to ceiling. Once you put in the floor, it's going to be cannibalize a couple of inches, because the floor itself is a couple of layers of foam plus a subfloor plus the linoleum and so on. And then same thing on the roof, where you actually put some framing in, and then in my case you put the knotty pine. So what I have is 68 inches, so 5'8". So 5'8" of head clearance. Obviously if you're bigger than 5'8", you're going to have to bend your neck over. And years ago I had a Ford Econoline that was a standard roof, and even for myself, being less than 5'8", I had to bend over, and it was such a pain in the ass that I highly recommend you get enough headroom that you don't need to hunch over, because it creates neck strain, back pain if you're in the van an extended time. So what I would say is, if you're 5'8", 5'10" or more, you want to get the higher roof of the Ford Transit, or you want to go to the Mercedes, where you've got way more headroom. I would not buy the mid-size roof as I have if you are 5'10" or bigger. So I would say one of the consequences of the bike garage storage requirements is that I've cannibalized the space of the bed. And so the headroom at the wall is 28 3/4 inches. And so it's a little tight. We've got the foam bed that's 5 inches. And so when we're in bed, we can't lean up against the wall because there's not sufficient headroom. And we kind of knew this. It was going to feel a little bit like a cubby hole in here. But this is the natural consequences of having the bed having to be high enough to accommodate the bikes and not having a higher than a mid roof. And we were comfortable making that trade-off. If you like to read in bed and lean up against the wall, then you might want to rethink this whole thing. But I was very leery of having the high top Ford Transit, where it's like 10 inches taller than this. And the wind loading on the highway, and in our case, the unnecessary extra height really wasn't, we didn't need that. But the cabinets on this side would be a lot higher, by like twice as big, if you had the high top Ford Transit or the Sprinter. I don't know what the nut measures, but I think it's 8 or 10 inches taller. I think the Sprinter is the perfect size of van. It's unfortunate that for this same build of engine size and all-wheel drive configuration of the Transit, the Mercedes came in an extra 10 grand. Not that 10 grand was a huge difference in what it cost me to buy this thing, but it was enough that I thought that extra 10 grand I can use to buy my power system and a whole bunch of things. It virtually bought me half of the material cost that I was going to end up spending. So it was kind of worth going with the Transit. Okay, so in conclusion, like I said, I think having redone a lot of these interior structures, that at this point, for the mid-roof van and for somebody less than 5'8", these measurements have nailed it. But you'll need to tweak and tune them accordingly if you have the high top or you're taller than 5'8". And so thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you next time.